No other team in this division has gone through the turmoil or the adversity that the Raiders have. Okay. You have your top receiver going out with DUI. You lose your coach. They still make it to the playoffs.
On today's Top Shelf Tuesday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and Coach Francis and the OCP team of correspondents preview the AFC West in advance of the 2022-2023 football season. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner, the Damian Priest to my Finn Balor in Judgment Day in the WWE, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, today we got a cavalcade of stars, if you will, as we talk about the AFC West. But how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Glad to finally be on with everyone. I'm glad to be able to meet everyone. Let's get it going.
All right. So our OCP team of correspondents this week covering the Kansas City Chiefs is our officials correspondent, Robert Abney. Robert, how are you today?
Good morning, sir. Living the dream. I didn't know I was going to be part of a cavalcade this morning.
This is good stuff. Doing the Las Vegas Raiders, Chris Shower, former co-worker of mine, and man, I am just so jacked up to see him, talk to him, and here it starts. Chris, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. I'm ready to go. Let's talk about some games.
This is it. This is what we're talking about, Mike. And doing the Los Angeles Chargers, the Cotton Man himself, the permanent team captain,
let's
Will
go.
Cotton.
Bolts up.
Bolts up?
Yeah, that's the Chargers thing.
Oh, boy. And finally, the legitimate fan himself of the Denver Broncos, Akil Russell. Akil, always good to see you. How are you?
That's right. I'm awesome this morning. Glad to be here.
Man, we are fully stocked today and loaded, man. So fans, our preseason NFL format, if we give you a 1 anything as a ranking, we think you're a championship caliber team. Anything that starts with 2 means you're average, and 3, it means you have major needs. So let's get going. We're going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. Robert, I ranked them a 1.55, and here's your driving question. Still an educator. Do they still have the juice? What do you think about the Kansas City Chiefs this year?
Patrick is still my homie. I had to do it. I'm sorry. I had to. I love watching the Chiefs. I will make sure that whenever they're on, I take an opportunity to watch them just because they're fun to watch. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with them without Tyreek Hill, because, I mean, at least 2 or 3 times a game, basically it was, hey, you go long, I'm going to throw it as far as I can and go get it. And they can't do that now. I think their wide receivers lead the league in last names, because now they have 2 guys with hyphenated last names. They have JoJo Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. So that's a lot of last names. So I'm interested to see how that works out for them. They drafted 7 of their 10 draft picks were for defense. They went out and got some defensive linemen. They got a linebacker. They got DBs in free agency, which they needed to do because last year what happened to them is they got out to a real slow start because their defense was not good. And even though that Bills game in the playoffs, that was a fantastic game to watch, there wasn't a whole lot of defense going on there. So they've got to play better defense, and they can't get off to a slow start like they did last year because their schedule will kill them if they don't.
All right. Las Vegas Raiders, I had them ranked a 2.11. Chris, do they finally have the pieces to make a run? What do you think, sir?
Of course they do. They always do. Okay. So the first thing is they're not a 2.11. Okay. I say they're a 2.0. Let's give them solid average. Okay. They're so close to being playoff caliber. That's what you got to go with. Okay. Don't give me this 2.11. That's too close to 3.0. Okay. So there's all this conversation about top 5 quarterbacks, right? Is Derek Carr a top 5, top 10? That's nonsense talk. Okay. I don't think Stabler or anybody else, Rich Gannon, any of those other quarterbacks for the Raiders, when they won games, I'm talking about like really winning games, like being in the playoffs, going to Super Bowls, all that kind of nonsense. They weren't in the top 10. Okay. They had a team around them. You need to have a solid team around you. Okay. No other team in this division has gone through the turmoil or the adversity that the Raiders have. Okay. You have your top receiver going out with DUI. You lose your coach. They still make it to the playoffs. Right. I can't wait for the Chargers to talk. Okay. Because, hey, they almost made the playoffs, didn't they? Right. But no, too much conversation about top 5 or top 10 quarterback. You have to worry about the defense around you, and the Raiders added to their defense. You got to worry about the offensive line. I'm worried about my offensive line. Okay. We don't have a really good offensive line. So that's why I give my team a score of 2.0 for average. I think that we're above average in a lot of categories, except for our offensive line. Okay. The Raiders have a strong coach. Okay. But he's a new coach to us. And he was, hey, Akil, wasn't he your coach at one time? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You remember, right? So he knows what it's like to go through adversity. He knows what it's like to think he knows what he's doing, but not do so well. So he's learned from his past experience. He's going to do it right with the Raiders this time. And the Raiders with Devontae Adams is going to win the division. They're going to clearly win the division. It's going to come down to that last game with Robert's team, Kansas City, that last week between the Raiders and Kansas City. They're going to come in with the same record, and the Raiders are going to win.
Where's the game at?
It doesn't matter where the game's at. The game's at, the Raiders win. That's where it is.
Mike, that's a fan right there, brother.
God damn.
See? Yeah,
All
even
right.
when it was Oakland, Los Angeles, Oakland, Las Vegas, it doesn't matter. They're still the Raiders.
I love it. All
Can we
right.
get an over under so we can put them to bed?
All right. Los Angeles Chargers. Cotton Man, I had them ranked as a 2.33. Is this their breakout year for the Los Angeles Chargers?
We'll see. We'll see. The thing about the Chargers is the universe wants them to be in the playoffs. Like, they want them to be so bad. Like, and this is not even just the current Chargers, like even beyond, like even when I was in like high school and with Tomlinson and Rivers, and like the universe wants them to win, but they always find a way to not do it. But I think this year they will make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll make a run, but I think just getting into the playoffs will be enough for them. That'll be their Super Bowl, in my opinion. I think they'll totally like lose it. Oh, we made the playoffs, and I think they're gonna poop the bed. But I just think that's how it is, man. I mean, we've seen better like Chargers teams, Tomlinson, Rivers. They have like 13 wins, 14 wins. and they lose in the second round. So it's like, I just think they can't shake that, man. And I think it doesn't matter, whatever it is. I think they'll make the playoffs. They might even surprise people and win the division. But I think that's their championship. And I think, they'll lose in the first game they play.
Okay. And finally, Akil, you have walked into a hornet storm based on the Odd Coaches podcast. I have Denver ranked as a 2.33, and word on the street is that they're one player away from being relevant. My partner will have some comments on that, I'm sure, throughout the show. But
I don't think Coach Francis is buying any of this. I'm just watching him over here.
Oh my God!
So, Akil, tell me about the Broncos this year, sir.
We're also one player away from not winning any games. Honestly, we're not that deep. I'm still going to say a 2.5 for the American Football Conference Western Division. We got a great team, and we're not that deep. Again, if Russell goes down, or
if
any of if was a fifth, I understand.
Yeah.
We'll all be where we need to be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 2.5. We have a lot of key. Our secondary, we have strong out the inside backers. That's my only. My boy Singleton and Josie Jewell, they're like walk on type caliber players. But
Did you say walk on?
He said walk on, bro.
If I was comparing them to, they're not like they're not a first round, type caliber. But that's okay. Our secondary solid, D line solid, line's okay. And again, our skill players, we have some really good skill players. I'm going to go 2.5. Denver wins the Super Bowl.
All right.
I need what he had this morning.
I'm going to tag off to my tag team partner
The hell you
to close the segment. Any reactions to their initial opening statements, franchise?
Well, everybody's full of glee this morning. Everybody got pie in their sky. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. AFC West is going to be Kansas City Chiefs, and that's it. Everybody else ain't got a chance. Them other teams in there combined probably won't have 15 wins.
All right. So with that, we're going to move to the second segment.
I'll take the 15 wins. I'll take the 15 wins then. So the
combined, the other three teams combined.
Yeah,
it's like
combined.
5.
The other teams can lose everything. I'll take the 15 wins. Thanks.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
All right. With that, we will have a structured debate on these teams. So the next segment
Broncos,
will be right back. Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fallon Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
For free. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast, and in segment 2, we will have a structured debate off of the strength. Stop it. Off of the strength of schedule. So we will start with Kansas City. Robert, Kansas City has the 5th strongest schedule, and strictly for entertainment purposes only, They are scheduled to win 10.5 games. So, Robert, take the over or the under, sir.
So they're also plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl. And they have let's see, it looks like the fourth best odds to win the Super Bowl. Their schedule's pretty legit. I mean, they have to they open at Arizona. They have to go to the Colts. They have to go to the Buccaneers. They have to go to the 49ers. They have to go to the Bengals, which I'm sure that'll be interesting, given how Bengals beat them and goes Super Bowl. They host the Bills. They host the Rams. I don't think they can go through the division cleanly because, all those, I mean, Denver is a really tough place to play. They'll have lots of fans in Los Angeles because the Chargers, for some reason, that's everybody's vacation destination, I think. So over under, that means they got to have 11, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they'll get 11.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I would bet Coach Francis's paycheck on that.
Okay.
I got 50 cents for you.
All right. Chris, over and under on Kansas City, 10.5. What do you have, sir?
Oh, I think that they'll be over.
Okay.
I think they'll have an 11-6 season. I think that they'll be strong. But at the end, they won't win the division with 11-6.
All right. Will.
And it's that last game. It's that last game, Robert. That last game against the Raiders.
All right. Cotton Man, over and under 10.5 wins for Kansas City.
Oh man, it's 10.5, but I'm gonna say under. But it's gonna be 10 wins.
Oh, okay. Okay. And Akil, over and under on Kansas City, 10.5, sir.
Wins.
Their schedule's pretty tough. Barring that everyone stays healthy. I feel like they can get over. I feel like when they had Hill, when they had Tyreek Hill, I feel like Holmes forced the ball to him a lot. And Pringle and all those guys would kind of be wide open. So I feel like now that he's gone, if he goes to his actual reads, I think they'll be a better football team without Hill. So I'm gonna go over.
All right, franchise over and under on Kansas City, 10.5.
Guaranteed over. They're gonna get 2 wins against Chargers. 2 wins against Chargers, 2 wins against the Raiders, the Titans. Come on, man. That's an easy. As long as nobody get hurt, like he said, yeah, that's easy. They should have set that at like 11 or 12.
All right, Chris, Raiders, 7th strongest schedule and projected 8.5 wins. Over or under on the Raiders, sir?
Oh my God, over. Okay, so let me go back to this Kansas City thing for a second. This is craziness. Okay, they had what was it? What's their odds to go to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl this year? It's a little bit worse than it was last year. Hey, did they go to the Super Bowl last year? No, they didn't. Okay, so how many wins did they have last year? Doesn't matter. Okay, they didn't go. Okay,
it doesn't matter.
Let's just remember that. Let's just remember that. Okay, how many times? Hey, did the Raiders beat them last year?
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Game wasn't important enough for me to watch.
Hey, any Raider win is important enough for me. Okay, so going back to the Raiders. 8.5. What was it? What nonsense was that? 8.5. That's nonsense. Okay,
all
entertainment
right, so
purposes or not, it's way over. I say they're going to be 12-5.
Okay, all right. Robert, over
Guys,
and under Raiders, 8.5 wins. Over and under, sir.
Wow. Their schedule's pretty good. That's a pretty tough schedule. They
good or easy?
No, they got to go to the Rams. They got to go to the Steelers. They got to go to the Seahawks. They get everybody in the division gets the NFC West. So I mean, it's a pretty legit schedule. They're 8.5. So let's see, they got to go 9-8 to get over.
Remember, I'm marking you down. You tell me something, and I'm going to remember it.
Man, tell us.
And for the record, that last game that you keep touching on, that game is in Vegas.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to say that that last game of the season when the Chiefs come to the Raiders, that the Raiders are going to be 8-8, and they got to win that game to make to get the over and make the playoffs. And the Chiefs are going to beat them. They're going to be under.
All right. So Robert's a former principal, and I'm guessing your staff meetings went long. So with that, Will Cotton, Raiders, over under 8.5 wins.
Oh, I have one correction. I thought we were talking about the Chargers, the first segment. I would like to take the over on the Chiefs. I do, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So they
Definitely over. And then I thought it was. I was like, man, I was looking at something else. But now I'd like to take the under on the Raiders.
Oh shit!
Under on the Raiders.
I'm taking the under on the Raiders. I think they had a great season last year. I think a lot of they rallied for each other about all the things that happened. You know, Ali Ruggs, the cornerback, Gruden. You know, they kind of rallied on each other. The thing I think didn't do is they didn't keep the coach. You know, they didn't give him a chance to be a head coach. They couldn't even think they could rally him. They did bring up some great pieces. Devontae Adams, obviously. And you have what's his name? Renfro. I like Renfro a lot. But it's hard to recreate that magic they had. And what do they say? They say, Coach, what do you say all the time?
That's a loaded
statement. He has a lot.
He says commitment to excellence. That's what he says all the time.
There you go.
Ain't that
But I don't. It's I don't think they're gonna have the emotions to get through. But if they can, there'd be that's a team that could do some things because they have the pieces and the things that you need in the playoffs is big plays, defense. They can run the ball. But I would say based on just emotions aside, under.
Okay, Akil, over and under 8.5 wins for the Raiders.
Look at the schedule. Again, the out of conference they play is the NFC West, which is a great division, the conference division. Texans, Saints, Jaguars, Colts. Those are probably their games that they have circled on their schedule. The rest, I feel like it's a 50-50. I mean, they're not, no offense to the Raiders fans in the house. They're not, I feel like they're not prolific. They did add Vontae, so that's definitely going to help. Defense is, got some decent names on defense. Some guys at the, tail end of their career, so we'll see if they stay healthy.
You said tail end.
What's the number?
8.5, sir. 8.5.
Under, Coach. We're going under.
Under.
That's a tough. Yeah.
All right, franchise Raiders 8.5. Over or under, sir?
Over.
Okay.
Over. They're going to beat Indy twice. They're going to beat the Chargers twice. They're going to beat the shit out of Jacksonville. Seattle sucks. Pittsburgh, they got that win. So that's 9 wins right there.
No, hold on, Coach. Let me stop you with the franchise. You just said they're going to be Indy twice.
Yeah,
they're going to play Indy twice.
Okay.
So subtract that one.
Then it'll be 8. All right, it'll be 8. It'll be 8. But they might get Pittsburgh. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They got Pittsburgh. They got Pittsburgh. They got
Denver
twice.
All those games are mites.
They got Houston. Houston ain't guaranteed.
They got
New
David
Orleans.
Mills. What
Jesus Christ. Man? The New Orleans Saints? The New Orleans Saints?
Nah.
Johnny Crab Cakes? Quarterbacking? Come on now. Johnny Crab Cakes, quarterback? Over. Raiders over. Too many cupcakes in that schedule. Where's St. Leo?
Okay. Cotton Man, save me. The Chargers, 10th hardest schedule, and they say 10 wins even. Over or under on the Chargers, sir?
I was going to call a wash. But for real,
Said
for real.
push.
Nah, for real. You know what, man? Like looking at their schedule. I mean, they're not like. Let's see that joint. They're not getting any cupcakes. They're not getting like, man, like Seahawks. That's going to get a win at home. Everything
Right.
at Jacksonville's going to be a win. They're going to fight against the Raiders. They're going to fight against the Titans. The Dolphins aren't slouches. That's tough at home, and then away, like, Indy you're gonna watch them. They're gonna watch Houston. They're gonna watch Atlanta, and everything else is a fight, man. And so I'm gonna go ahead and say they get 9 wins, but they
So
get
you're
in the
taking the
playoffs.
under. Taking the under.
They get in the playoffs, but they get under.
All right. Robert, Chargers, 10 wins, over, under.
So they're at Denver on January 8th, and they're going to go into that game 8-8, and they're going to go into Denver, and they're going to play in a snowstorm, and they got to win to make the playoffs. And they'll win, and they'll make the playoffs, but some weird tiebreaker will kick them out. But they'll be 9-8, which is under. So
is Dorothy gonna be there?
Yeah. They're going under. So,
like the Wizard
hey,
of
you
Oz or
gotta. If you want me to not talk so long, you got to give me an agenda. That's the thing about having an agenda, and you stick to it, right?
Blame him for that joint. That's right.
I love it. Chris, over and under Chargers.
I love how Robert thinks everybody's going to come into the last week 8-8. Okay. I love that. Okay,
Hey.
but it's wrong. Okay. The Chargers are better than that. Okay. The Chargers have an excellent defense. Okay. They added some great people. Okay. But their problem is they have youth.
Football.
They have youth on the offensive side. Okay. That's where the mistakes happen. Okay. So you have to remember San Diego's going to make mistakes. You're asking me over under 10. I think they'll have exactly 10. They'll have 10 wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Akil, Chargers, over under 10 wins, sir.
Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. That pass rush is going to be crazy. It's just only going to help the offense, in which their quarterback, he's pretty good. I've seen the kid live. You're probably not going to agree with me, but he's a Tom Brady type caliber. He's going to read your defense, and he's going to throw dots. He's going to throw 3-yard and 5-yard dots and have 12 play drives for 80 yards. This team is dangerous. So they're going to go over.
All right,
for sure.
Franchise.
I need to know who
he's
he's talking about. I need to know who was he talking
He's
about.
talking about Justin Herbert, baby.
He's a quarterback.
Talking about Justin Herbert.
You said throwing darts.
Dots. He throws dots. He's going to throw the arrow route for 2, and it's going to turn into 7, and it's going to move the chains.
Speaking of 7, I got 7 wins. Jacksonville, Houston, Cleveland, Atlanta, Seattle, Miami, and the Colts, and that's it. Under.
All right, under. All right, Akil, Denver, 15th rated schedule, strength of schedule, and 10 wins. Mike, 10 wins for Denver. Anyway, that's a side joke.
Hell no. You can get mine now.
Over and under Akil on Denver, who's 1 player away.
Let's ride.
For 20 years.
New coach, new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new offensive. Well, not offense coordinator the same, but head coach is coming from Green Bay. They had the number 1 offense. He knows a thing about offense.
Had nothing to do with his quarterback, though, right? Okay.
Russell.
All right. In Green Bay.
Defensive coordinator coming from the Rams. Super Bowl champion caliber. We got the pieces. What was the number, Coach?
10, sir. 10.
Going over, Coach. We gotta go over. We
right.
don't know what to expect. It's gonna be magical, and everyone grab your popcorn and let's ride.
All right, Robert, over and under on Denver, 10 wins.
So going back to that snowstorm on January 8th, the Broncos are not going to be 8-8.
Yo,
They're going to be
real talk.
5-11,
Wow.
playing out the string. And that's why the Chargers are going to beat them that last game, because they ain't going to care. Russell Wilson going to be standing on the sideline in a parka looking miserable because it'll be 12 degrees in Denver, snowing sideways. They're under.
Okay. Chris, over and under Denver, 10 wins.
I don't know why Robert thinks that there's no such thing as climate change. Okay. So, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I agree with Robert when it comes to Denver is going to come into that game, and it's going to be 83 degrees, by the way. And it's going to be, they're going to come in 5-11, and they're going to lose, and they'll be 5-12. They're the most overrated team, I think, in this entertainment stuff. Okay. They're not going to have any more than 5 wins.
Hey, Kelly, we got to have Chris on like every week.
Yeah. This is funny.
Will Cotton, 10 wins for Denver.
Wow.
Man, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go take the under as well.
Okay.
You know, I just don't. I don't know. When it's hard to believe when sometimes a quarterback goes who's great, and he was good, really good for a team, for a franchise to go to another team. They never really like get better. There's a couple that like legends, like, you know, Brett Favre, obviously, Peyton Manning, you know, Tom, but those are like 3 names of history.
Joe Montana in Kansas City.
Rich Gannon.
He did take him to the playoffs. He did take him to the playoffs. I do remember.
Kurt Warner.
Don't sully Montana name like that, man.
Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett.
But
Jim Plunkett. Ooh.
But I don't know if they're gonna do it this time, man. I just, you know, they're good on paper, you know, but there's something about just they're just like, you know, they just have the same bad luck, the same way. So we'll see. Like and like Nikhil said, they're thin, so injuries are gonna happen regardless. You know what I'm saying? And good teams are able to you know, rise above it, and with really good roster depth. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that depth, then that's where you lose games. You know what I'm saying? You know, lose a touchdown here, or lose your fumble here, things like that. So I think there'll be too many of that for Denver, and they're too thin. So I think it's not going to be a matter of talent. It'll be more so depth that's going to kind of get them at the end of the day. So give me the under.
All right. Franchise, they're 1 player away, baby. Denver, over under 10 wins.
Under, for the simple fact is we don't know. They'll beat Seattle, Las Vegas, Colts, Jets, Jacksonville, Carolina, and they'll split with the Chargers. That gives you 7. The other 3 that they're not going to get would be Houston, 49ers, and Tennessee. We don't know. It's late in the season, so that's usually when Tennessee start to fall apart. So they might get that November 13th game against Tennessee, because for some reason they hit the wall every year, just like I hit the bar when I get free time. So
All right. So we have gone through with some depth. In our final segment, we are going to make official predictions and put it down, again, strictly for entertainment purposes only, because the OCP will be putting bets down. We'll be right back. Yes. We'll be right back on the Eye Coaches Podcast.
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project academic monitoring service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress, as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 3, it is strictly for entertainment purposes only, division predictions and postseason predictions. So I've got my magic fingers ready to type the winners. So Who's going to win the division? We will start with Robert. Who's going to win the AFC West?
Chiefs.
Chiefs. All right. Chris, who's going to win the West?
The Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. Last week, the last week against Kansas City, boom, Kansas City out.
Okay.
I love it.
Cotton Man, who's winning the division?
Oh man, give me the Chiefs.
All right. I killed. Damn it. I was almost there.
The winner of the American Football Conference Western Division will be the Denver Broncos.
Oh, my God. Franchise, save the segment.
Waiver.
Who's winning the division?
Do we even Kansas City? What do you mean? Barring injury, Kansas City wins that division easily.
Okay.
Easily. You don't jump from 7-10 to a division championship. Everything is a progression. Denver was 7-10, been one play away since Fiddler was a pup. So we can't keep going through that. That ain't gonna happen. The Raiders, come on, man, stop. Y'all got the curse of Al Davis. Ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be Kansas City all the way.
Okay. So who will be the other playoff teams if they have other playoff teams in the AFC West? Robert, is there anybody else going to be in the playoffs from the AFC West?
It's the Chargers when they win the snowstorm game in Denver. That's it. That's it. Raiders got to beat the Chiefs on that last game, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, Chris, anybody other than the Raiders, according to your projections, going to make the playoffs from the AFC West?
Of course, everybody but Denver, unfortunately for Denver.
So
but
you got
the
KC
Chargers, the
and
Raiders,
Chargers.
and the Chiefs will all go.
Okay. All right. Cotton Man, who we got? Anybody else?
Man, I gotta have to say it's going to probably be the Chargers on the wild card.
All right. And Akil, anybody else other than Denver on your books?
I think we'll get 3 teams in. I think the Raiders will end up short.
Okay. Franchise, anybody else other than KC on your board?
Only one remotely close would be the Chargers, in my opinion. I think the Chargers have opportunity looking at their schedule and cleaning up within their own division if there's no injuries or nothing, you know. So, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Robert, surprise team. Which team in the AFC West is going to surprise? What do you think?
I think that the odds are the longest. If you look at the Vegas lines, the odds are the longest for the Raiders to make the playoffs. So I would say that if the Raiders made the playoffs, that would be the biggest surprise.
Okay. Chris, what's the surprise team?
Hey, Robert, get ready to be surprised. Okay, because it's going to happen. Okay. My biggest surprise is how everybody thinks that Denver's going to have 10 wins, right? And the fact that they're going to have no more than half of those, unfortunately. So the fact that I'm getting payback for the 1970s and how Denver terrorized me as a teenager, I'm going to say that Denver is my surprise, but not for me, because I already know they're going to have 5 wins. But for the rest of the world, Denver is the surprise.
Okay. Cotton Man, what we got? Who's the surprise team?
Oh, it makes me very short. I don't have to tell Chris basically said everything I needed to say. I think Denver is really going to win about maybe 5 wins. And I think that's going to be the bad surprise that you don't want. So,
all right.
Yep.
Akil, surprise team.
Hey, we're still reigning terror from the 70s. Jerry Jeudy and the Denver Broncos will be the surprise team when we win the Super Bowl.
All right, franchise. Any surprises coming out of the AFC West?
No.
We are who they thought they were. Okay. All right, back to Robert. Biggest disappointment in the AFC West. What do you think, sir?
I kind of feel like it's it's going to be the Broncos, because if you're walking that fine line with injuries, I mean, it's not when people are going to get hurt in the NFL. I mean, it's not if, it's when. So if they get people hurt, Russell Wilson gets hurt, forget it. They get a couple of defensive guys hurt, forget it. I think it's going to be Denver.
All right, Chris, who's going to be the biggest disappointment?
Oh, Robert's biggest disappointment is going to be the last week of the season. Okay, when he thinks all these teams are 8-8. But actually, and Kansas City not making the division winner is going to be a disappointment for Robert as well, and for Coach and for Will. Right, Will, didn't you say Kansas City was going to take the division?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, biggest disappointment for y'all. Okay, is Kansas City. He there's no way Mahomes is going to come back from losing his top receiver. Okay, it's going to be, they're trying to rebuild. Kansas City is really trying to rebuild as they're winning games, and I give them props that they are winning games in the process of rebuilding. But they started rebuilding last year, and they're rebuilding this year. They're getting rid of players, key players, and they're trying to replace them. And you can't just keep winning games in divisions that way. And that's why they lost to Cincinnati in the playoffs, and why Cincinnati, when they were 10,000 to 1 odds or whatever, made it into the Super Bowl, and not Kansas City. Let's just remember that Kansas City will continue to be the biggest disappointment.
Okay, strong. Will, who's going to be the biggest disappointment?
Let's see. Biggest disappointment is probably, again, like Denver. Like, they put all this money into it. They put all the, star quarterback, and, they really started to amp up. And I think they're just going to be the biggest disappointment and the biggest surprise at the same time.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
Akil, who's the biggest disappointment, sir?
Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Vontae for what? Yeah, I'm just gonna go Raiders. They're gonna stink it up.
Franchise, who's going to be the biggest disappointment, sir?
Denver Broncos will stay the course and be the biggest disappointment in the division.
One player away.
Yeah, they've been one player away. I'll tell you one thing that won't happen, thank God. Not thank God, but I'm sure there's nobody in that locker room that listens to Future. So unlike when my son was in the locker room with Russell Wilson, somebody put Gucci flip-flops in his locker after Future had that song. So they won't do that in Denver. That's bad. He came in and found the Gucci flip-flops right in front of his locker. So he'll be okay in Denver. It's a safer place for him. I'm sure it's more family-friendly and all that good stuff. And they still will lose because he's not the one. If they are one player away, Russell Wilson's not that one player.
All right. So final question for our panel. Going in order, do we have a Super Bowl team coming out of the AFC West? Robert, is there a Super Bowl team coming out of here?
No, I don't think the Chiefs will figure it out enough on offense. I think they'll get to the playoffs and they will falter because the wide receivers won't get it done.
Okay. Chris, do we have a Super Bowl team coming out of the West?
Of course we do.
Oh my God.
It is. Don't say. Oh, Coach. The Raiders are going to take the Super Bowl, and you know what? They'll actually, since there's 3 AFC West teams going into the playoffs, actually we're going to get to see Kansas City again in one of our playoff games for the Raiders. Okay, and we'll be able to crush them again, like we do in the final week.
All right,
and maybe we'll even see the Chargers again. So.
Okay.
Will, do we have a Super Bowl team?
We'll talk to
AFC
me.
West?
We'll talk to me.
Man, I think we have a Super Bowl team in the AFC West, but I do think the Chiefs will lose in the conference championship. I think they'll lose to the Bills. I think they're losing, when you lose stars, man, I've always learned like that's the guys who tip the scale. You lose a guy like Tyreek Hill, I just don't know if you can overcome when it comes to winter playoffs, deep playoffs, and it comes to that. It's like, can I beat this man in front of me? I think when you lose a dog like Tyreek Hill, I think that hurts you. But I think that's going to cost them down the road. But, I don't think it's going to be like, in that way. But I don't think there will be a Super Bowl team this decision.
All right. Akil, do we have a Super Bowl team coming out of the West? And don't you dare say Denver. Come on, man.
I'm going to shock the world. Oh, Denver. Number 1, baby. Woo!
Nothing wrong with a woo. All right. Franchise, do we have a Super Bowl team coming out of the AFC West, sir?
Possibly Kansas City, but that's, realistically, possibly Kansas City. I mean, every conversation here has been about offensively, but I don't think they get enough credit defensively for what they're going to do and be able to keep games close and stuff like that if it came down to it. So I would say Kansas City's closest one.
All right. Well, fans, I hope you have been as thoroughly entertained as I have as we go through the AFC West from pillar to post, random wrestling reference. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, and our OCP team correspondents, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.